Greetings and welcome to the campus and welcome to the presentation, the campus plan for the University of Michigan-Flint. This webinar will be recorded and the video and slide deck will be posted to the website after the presentation. It is our pleasure to present our 10-year comprehensive campus master plan through this webinar and the university website. The plan considers the development and evolution of campus facilities and spaces through renovations and redevelopment, as well as the use of buildings and open spaces to enhance the overall experience of students, faculty, staff, and the community for years to come. It represents a blueprint for our physical spaces and our shared vision for the future. It is a culmination of an inclusive and collaborative process in which the voices of our students, faculty, staff, and community members are integral in shaping the direction we will take together. The plan was developed in conjunction with SmithGroup, which specializes in integrated campus planning that provides a comprehensive consideration of academic, financial, campus life, and facility issues. The group's approach helps facilitate a broad-based consensus for institutional goals and priorities, along with a data-rich understanding of how to realize them in a shifting educational landscape. This plan is not just a response to the current moment, but a forward-looking strategy that positions our university to thrive in the years to come by aligning our physical spaces with our academic strengths and priorities. And we will create a sustainable, flexible, and vibrant campus conducive to the innovative spirit that defines our institution. We are excited to share this vision with you today and look forward to the journey ahead as we bring this plan to life together. Joining us today to present the plan is Neil Kessler from the SmithGroup. SmithGroup is one of the nation's best-known university campus planning firms and has worked with more than 500 universities across the country. The firm has a long history at U of M Flint, doing planning work for the campus for more than 40 years. Neil Kessler is a leader of the campus planning team at SmithGroup with nearly 35 years experience in leading planning efforts at over 100 universities and is based in Ann Arbor. At this time, it is my pleasure to present Neil Kessler.
Great, thanks, Chancellor Alexander. I'm going to try and share my screen here again. Okay. Very good. So good afternoon, everybody. Again, I'm Neil Kessler, Senior Principal of SmithGroup and Lead Planner for the University of Michigan-Flint Comprehensive Campus Plan. Today, I'm going to provide an overview of the Comprehensive Campus Plan and our process and recommendations. I've got about a half an hour or so of presentation that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to start with a little bit of a prologue, sharing what the campus plan is and why it's important. And that's going to set the stage for sharing our process, data collection, analysis, planning drivers, which set the stage then for the recommendations. Next, I'm going to share our guiding principles and why I think that these may be the most important elements of the comprehensive campus plan. And I'll end with showcasing some of the recommendations for the future of campus, with the understanding that these are flexible opportunities rather than definite implementation strategies. So let's get started with a little bit of background. I want to explain what a comprehensive plan is for those of you who don't know and what it's not. So a comprehensive plan is a flexible, long-range framework designed to guide the development and evolution of campus and our campus facilities and spaces through renovations, redevelopment, and other means so that it fully supports the greatest possibilities for U of M Flint and its mission. It guides how we use buildings and open spaces to enhance the overall campus experience of students, faculty, staff, and the community, while protecting and enhancing historical and other important spaces on campus. It's about potential opportunities, not specific implementation. So why is it important? The comprehensive plan really informs how the institution uses buildings and spaces to meet its academic, scholarly, research, artistic, strategic, and other goals. The U of M Flint Comprehensive Campus Plan is going to guide us in ensuring that we meet these goals with our physical spaces and places while advancing accessibility, inclusion, and opportunity. It'll articulate concepts and priorities that help make U of M Flint a vital place for everyone in the community, including students, faculty, and staff. So it's important that we provide flexible guidance so that each incremental improvement or project builds on the last toward the overall vision. The plan's also really an important part of several other larger planning efforts. Here on the U of M Flint campus, it aligns with the strategic transformation planning that's been ongoing across campus. But at the state level, it really aligns with the strategic planning happening for the entire U of M system. Vision 2034 aligns really all three campuses around the strategic vision for excellence at scale. All three campuses, Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint, have been developing comprehensive campus plans concurrently toward those strategic goals of the University of Michigan, while understanding that our needs are specific and different on the University of Michigan Flint campus. They're unique to our institution. So our process was in 3 phases. Understand, where we listen and gather data and learn what issues are to be solved. Explore, where we looked at different options for solving these issues. And then realize, where we continue to refine the best ideas and come to consensus on the future opportunities for campus. At the start, we really trying to be as visionary as possible and suspend our disbelief about what's possible. But by the end, we really have to be pragmatic and realistic so that we use our limited financial resources as wisely as possible. So our schedule here shows that we started the process in July of 2023 and really have finalized the plan just recently in November of 2024. With a kind of a small pause there over the summer, partway through our project, really to align with the other planning efforts that were going on in the other campuses. We really, as Chancellor Alexander mentioned, we really tried to make this process as open and transparent and inclusive as possible. We had one-on-one meetings with each dean, group stakeholder interviews and meetings. We have a continually updated campus master plan website where we posted information along the way, and then had an interactive survey we called Map My Campus, which you see down here in the bottom, which we sent to every single student, faculty member, and staff person. The Map My Campus survey received nearly 1,000 responses, which gave us a huge amount of data that about how people really use the campus on a daily basis. I'll go into some of the results of that here shortly. Okay, so next I want to talk a little bit about the analysis that led to the planning drivers. And then I'm going to talk about the planning drivers themselves. Oops. Oh boy. Okay. Too many clicks. So we start with an understanding of the context. And as you know much better than us, U of M Flint occupies a space between the downtown core and the Flint Cultural Campus, including, many cultural institutions, the Mott Applewood Estate, Mott Community College, etc. And the campus is divided by the Flint River, which is a natural amenity that many students, many universities lack, and is a great amenity for this campus. However, that amenity can also become somewhat of a divide, separating the two sides of campus. The Flint River Trail also connects the region to downtown and goes right through campus. We conducted many types of physical analysis of campus, and this just represents a small fraction of that data. We can't go through all of it today because of time constraints. But this diagram, for instance, shows the general building use on campus. Blue being academic and research, red being student services, gray is parking, green is recreation, yellow is housing. So we currently have far more housing than there is demand, and all the student services and amenities such as food service and recreation are on the south side of the river. That also adds to that divide between north and south. I mentioned the Map My Campus survey, and that app-based survey really allowed the campus users to map their daily routes through campus and answer several questions about their use of campus. The resulting data provided us with an incredible amount of information, provided us with a great understanding of the issues on campus, and then we verified through personal conversations and user group meetings, etc. So while we don't have the time to provide that full description of each question in this webinar, we've summarized our key takeaways on this slide, and you can read these faster than I can. But a few important ones that I'll note is the appreciation for and the need for more spaces for collaboration and study that students mentioned on campus, and especially in the library. The perception of safety issues on the north side of the river, and really more that it feels isolated at many times during the day. And then the desire for major renovation of the university center, making it even more of a vibrant central student hub. We also looked at the open spaces on campus to determine where upgrades could improve well-being and social interaction. Many cited the responses cited the riverfront and McKinnon Plaza as areas where focused improvements could transform the enjoyment of the outdoor environment. Finally, there were two data analytics studies that really provided extremely valuable information for the campus plan. First, we conducted a space utilization and space needs study. The space utilization study revealed that even at the peak use during the week, and that was Thursdays at noon, only 49% of our classrooms are being used, which was quite low for most universities that we benchmark. So this indicates that by increasing utilization, we could theoretically get by using fewer teaching and learning spaces. This isn't unusual for a university that was built for a much larger in-person student body, and our students have really changed over time. Now, only 19% of our students are on campus full-time. The rest are accessing our classes in a hybrid environment or completely online. Then we did a study of how much space we'd need in the future. So when we used a future enrollment goal of 8,000 students, which was close to our all-time high, our data showed that we still had an excess of 130,000 assignable square feet. This doesn't mean that we need no new space. And so at the target enrollment, the data shows a deficit in specialized academic labs, student healthcare, and student collaborative space. So that provided an understanding of the quantity of space needed for the future. We also did an educational analysis, an educational adequacy analysis of all 180 teaching and learning spaces on campus to understand the quality of teaching and learning spaces. So we used the criteria that's on the upper right, developed by EDUCAUSE, to rate every space on campus, every educational space. What we found was that there's a mix of great spaces that the university has, and then maybe those that are in need of improvement, with the North Bank Center and French Hall scoring consistently lower and in need of the most improvements. So that analysis set a baseline of understanding on campus. The next step in our process was to really set the guiding principles of the campus plan. And as I mentioned earlier, these principles are vitally important and provide a framework that inform and guided decisions during our campus plan development, and are also meant to guide decision-making following the campus plan process. Building locations, pedagogy, campus needs, programs of study, and even university leadership may change over time, but the guiding principles remain a constant source of guidance. The guiding principles are specific to U of M Flint and are drawn from conversations with faculty, staff, students, alumni, and community members, and they also reflect a response to those planning drivers. There are 5 guiding principles, and I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first is right size the campus. As I mentioned a minute ago, given the shift toward online and hybrid learning, the space needs analysis predicts an excess of campus facilities based on enrollment projections. To address this, the university should strategically right size the campus by increasing the utilization of its teaching spaces and repurposing facilities that may no longer align with its mission and vision. By reducing some excess space, U of M Flint can really allocate its financial resources more effectively, prioritize core facilities, and optimize underutilized areas. The next principle is focus on student success. By centralizing academic support services and making them easily accessible where students study and conduct research, the university can really help students stay on track toward graduation. Similarly, streamlined access to financial and career services supports their personal and professional development. High quality teaching and learning spaces enhance educational effectiveness, while collaboration areas provide diverse spaces for studying, socializing, and peer interaction. Finally, co-locating counseling, health, recreation, and wellness services ensures easy access and contributes to student well-being. The third is develop a sustainable campus. As part of the University of Michigan system, U of M Flint is committed to achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. In alignment with that carbon neutrality commitment, we've contributed to that goal, and the campus should prioritize energy and water conservation and work toward eliminating carbon emissions wherever feasible. The fourth principle is to be a resource for our community. U of M Flint plays a crucial role as a cultural and educational resource within the city of Flint and the region. And so the campus should actively welcome the community, providing spaces for continuing education, research, cultural events, social gatherings, and wellness activities. Additionally, the campus green spaces are a bit like emerald oases, I guess, if you will, in an urban environment, should be accessible and enjoyed by the community as well. The last is to become a unified campus. Despite its small geographic footprint, U of M Flint currently operates as a collection of smaller campuses divided by busy roads and the Flint River. The goal is to foster a sense of unity by physically connecting these areas, creating academic and programmatic links, and centralizing resources. Even the naming conventions that we've used in this campus report, Campus South and Campus North, prioritize the campus identity, reinforcing the concept of a cohesive and integrated community. So let's move to the final section of the presentation, which is a discussion of the recommendations. So this is an overall view of campus as it might look in the future. And it's important to know that this represents a point in time and one thought of how the principles could be represented. In the future, it could look very different depending on what the future holds for campus. Campus South is on the bottom of the image and Campus North is at the top. You'll notice that there aren't very many new buildings. Only those are the College of Innovation and Technology expansions that represent the types of specialized spaces that campus doesn't currently have for that growing program. The majority of improvements recommended are renovations, reconfigurations, and reimagining of buildings, as well as open space, connectivity, and image improvements. So let's start on Campus South. This image shows an overview of Campus South with pedestrian, open space, social space, and gateway improvements. I will zoom in here a little bit and discuss a couple of recommendations for the west side of campus. So the first idea is an improvement to our gateways, here represented by the gateway at Harrison and Kersley Street. This may be the most important pedestrian gateway that we have on campus due to its proximity to downtown and its role of welcoming the community to the library and the theater which are major destinations, visitor destinations on campus. The signs, plaza, and landscape should be updated and improved to better represent the brand promise and brand image of the University of Michigan-Flint. And then number 2 on the screen, the library represents a really, I think, a major opportunity. And that is to become a one-stop student academic success hub on campus. The Academic One-Stop Center could provide the services for student success, including anything from tutoring to testing, academic advising, international education, student success center, writer's workshop, among others. And so it being in one convenient location, it's easy to access, is important for both on and off-campus students, from the academic court to the east to parking on the west, very easily accessible. The library has adequate space to accommodate this and is an ideal location for this use. At number 3 is French Hall renovations. This is our classroom workhorse on campuses and has been improved bit by bit over the years, but it's now in need of full renovation to improve the quality of teaching and learning spaces, the addition of more collaboration spaces, and then reworking how the building and space is configured. Moving east, number 4 is a complete reworking of McKinnon Plaza to become a much more active and vibrant space. To revitalize this pivotal area, a redesign is proposed to reduce the amount of pavement, introduce landscaping, introduce seating and other furnishings to make it a more inviting place. Additionally, reconfiguring the steps from a convex sort of arrangement to a more concave amphitheater shape could provide versatile spaces for sitting, studying, performances, and even outdoor classes, enhancing the plaza's utility and appeal. Number 5 is a complete renovation of the UC and the creation of an an administrative student services hub, bringing financial services together to be easy to access for students. And then last is number 6, the transformation of the rec center to a wellness hub by bringing student health, counseling, and wellness space together, and then bringing air conditioning to those recreation spaces in that building. So essentially 3 hubs: the academic success hub in the library, the financial service success hub in the UC, and then the wellness hub in the rec center. Rather than the Flint River being this divide that I had mentioned before, we really view it as an opportunity to be a seam between Campus South and Campus North. The riverfront open spaces could really accommodate things like seating, relaxing swings, tables and chairs, and other social opportunities, perhaps even a plaza, and maybe opening into the library from that riverfront plaza would create a more active lower level of the library. These ideas mesh with the ones that the state park is thinking about, plans to develop that state park along the Flint River and the open spaces as well. To better connect the 2 sides of campus across the river, we propose, and perhaps a long-term vision, but we propose a bridge at the spillway that more directly links the William S. White building with the library, connecting 2 plaza spaces and linking Campus North and Campus South in a figurative and literal way that makes it easy to access both sides of the river. And for those of you who have been around here for a little while, yes, I do see the irony of a bridge in this location where the old dam was located. I think it's still the right location. Moving to Campus North, this part of campus has more visible transformations and additions than Campus South. At the William S. White building, expansion and renovation of space is necessary to accommodate the fast-growing nursing and health sciences programs. The biggest change on Campus North is the addition of the multi-phased College of Innovation and Technology, providing specialized teaching and research space for the growth of that college, and will feature cutting-edge laboratories dedicated to emerging mobility, clean energy, smart manufacturing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and more. So with more students and faculty on this side of campus over longer hours, we propose the creation of more outdoor space to gather, eat, socialize as well, represented by the number 3 on this map. There's a current lack of space to accommodate outdoor organized recreation on campus, so we've recommended a turf and lighted recreation field complex that could serve both our students primarily and possibly even provide revenue for organized youth leagues or other regional or local sports that could make downtown Flint a real destination. Other improvements are stormwater and landscape improvements to the parking lots and gateway and landscape improvements, especially at the corner of Saginaw and Fifth at the northern corner of campus. Lastly, as I mentioned previously, University of Michigan has aggressive decarbonization goals that all 3 campuses need to meet. A lot of work has been done in this study to really look at the energy use intensity of our buildings, carbon emissions, and other elements as well. And there are a lot of detailed recommendations to meet that net zero by 2050 goal. This image shows the 3-phase concept of reducing the carbon footprint on the Flint campus. 100% purchased electricity from renewable resources by 2025, transition from district steam to medium temperature hot water by 2040, and continued investment in building energy conservation beyond that. These are goals, but again, with the management of an understanding of there's limited financial resources, and so the university is going to do it the best that it can to try and meet these goals. Okay, so here's the last slide. And so I'm sure you're wondering at this point what the next step is after this campus master plan. And there are some projects that are going to happen very soon, like the College of Innovation and Technology buildings on Campus North. But as I mentioned earlier, the campus plan isn't a tactical implementation plan. It's a plan of opportunities. We have very limited financial resources, so improvements you see recommended here may take a long time or may actually never happen at all. And other projects may become a priority as needs change over time. So I guess as an ending statement, that's the overview of the comprehensive campus plan for U of M Flint. I appreciate your interest and involvement in the process, and I feel like there's a great future for the university, and I think along with you, look forward to see what's next.
Thanks, Neil, for that great comprehensive presentation of our campus plan. Since we posted the plan on the website, we received a number of questions, comments, and et cetera. I will address a couple of those. One has to do with enrollment and campus density. We have had some growth in enrollment over the last couple of years, 2.4% increase last year, 6.5% increase this year, which brings us to above 6,500 on the year. And there are concerns that we may be going above or beyond our capacity to accommodate that number of students. But I think you pointed out already in your presentation that the student body has changed over the years, and that we do have fewer students who are present on campus from time to time. I think you said 19% of our student body are full-time in attendance at the university. But just to allay any concerns about our density, I believe it's true that even if we were to increase our student body to 8,500 students. That's 2,000 more students than we have now. That's very near what our historic high was in the fall of 2014. We would still have sufficient space and even additional space beyond that to accommodate those students. And I wanted to know, Neil, if you wanted to comment on that at all.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct, Chancellor. We certainly would expect more use out of our classrooms in order to accommodate that. But if we are using our classrooms at near benchmark, and we even adjusted the benchmarks down, but if we use our classrooms toward more of a statewide type average, we could get a lot more use out of our space, and we'd have plenty of space to grow beyond that.
Excellent.
Yeah, there were a couple other questions that I might be able to address as well. One I think I addressed in the presentation, which was there consideration of the state of Michigan's plans for the new state park along the river? And absolutely, we had those plans. Those plans are fairly conceptual right now, but we did look at those and understood that there is a desire to create that great place along the river, and we really made sure that we included that as a part of our ideas as well.
Great.
Yeah.
We received several questions as well about Riverfront, UPOV, the North Bank Center, and there was concern that not a whole lot was said in the campus plan, focusing on those buildings. Of course, all three of those buildings are a part of our campus. We do not have any immediate plans for these buildings at this time, other than the use to which they're currently being put there. And you explained that this is a plan of opportunity, not a plan of implementation. We recognize that moving forward with the recommendations of this plan will impact the use of space on the campus. We have not made any granular decisions that implementation would require with regard to this aspect of the plan.
Absolutely. And I think there were also questions about the library as well. And whether or not what's the plan to enliven that space. And I think I touched on that. There's a lot of available space. We talked in great detail with the folks at the library to understand what their goals are. They see it as a learning commons. They see it as an opportunity. They see it as a place for this idea of an academic success student hub. So I think there are lots of ideas that they have to really make it a great student hub there, and to make it much more vibrant and active than it is today.
Sure. Sure. Neil, there were also some questions about deferred maintenance and where does deferred maintenance, which is a huge issue, not only at our campus, but throughout Michigan and throughout the country, quite frankly. We have a deferred maintenance issue with our buildings. We at University of Michigan-Flint are certainly working on our deferred maintenance as our resources, as our personnel permit. When we get deferred maintenance funding, we certainly put it to good use, dealing with the critical deferred maintenance first. But how does this interact and interface with our campus plan?
Yeah, that's always a great question, because you're absolutely right. It is something that the state is very concerned with. That all across the country, that is a big piece of this, and I think what we've tried to do is to it's not a tactical plan, as I mentioned. There's always constant renovations going on in our buildings, trying to reduce the deferred maintenance. However, what we try to do is codify it a little bit to I guess get our biggest bang for our buck, right? So if we're gonna, I mentioned some of the renovation candidates that are out there. French Hall, the theater, a variety of other facilities where if we can renovate those buildings, we eliminate or reduce a huge amount of deferred maintenance every time we do a renovation. So that's a part of it, but it isn't. We aren't getting into the small details of exactly which spaces are being renovated. It's just an ongoing issue on campus.
Great. Um, Neil, did you have any other questions or discussion
Well,
points that you wanted to make here?
yeah, the only other one and we get this a lot is why aren't we thinking about more parking structures? And I fully understand that. That everyone wants to be able to park conveniently on campus. Um, However, when we start looking at the cost of surface parking, which is around $4,000 or $5,000 a parking space, and somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000 a parking space for a structure, we have to really consider whether that's the best use of our financial resources instead of improving some of our buildings, things like that. That's not to rule out ever being able to do that, but I think it's really trying to focus our financial resources on creating those great spaces for teaching, learning, collaboration, research, those things. Those come first, I think, are prioritized a little bit more. I think that was the only other one I thought I'd add.
Terrific. Thank you. Thanks, Neil. And I really want to thank you for providing us with the presentation and explanation on this afternoon. And it's been a pleasure working with you on this campus plan. And I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who's viewing this webinar. Thank you for joining us today. And to notify everyone that the feedback form will remain open for another 2 weeks for anyone who has additional questions or comments following this presentation. We invite you also to review the entire plan if you haven't already done so. You can do it at your convenience on the university website. And we look forward to working with the campus community and with stakeholders on the various projects that will improve our campus facilities and spaces on our campus for the benefit of all of our students, the faculty, staff, alumni, and community. So on behalf of the Smith Group and Neil Kessler, we'd like to thank you once again, and go Flint and go Blue.